I'm Captain Rich Green, and welcome aboard Horizon Watch. The legal mechanics of modern collision avoidance at sea have evolved from ancient Hammurabic river traffic rules to a highly structured global framework centered on human safety. Nearly 4,000 years ago, Hammurabi's law recognized something every mariner still understands today. When vessels meet in confined water, responsibility matters. One ancient rule placed liability on an upstream skipper who struck and sank a downstream boat. That was not coloreds. There was no radar, no AIS, no VHF radio, no traffic separation scheme. But the core idea was already there. Navigation creates duties. The Greeks carried maritime law further through the Lex Rhodia de Iactu, the ancient Rhodian law of jettison, and the ancestor of the general average principle. If cargo had to be thrown overboard to save the ship and the lives aboard, the loss was shared among those who benefited from the sacrifice. From the beginning, maritime law has been built around one hard question: what action best preserves the voyage, the vessel, and the people aboard? For centuries, collision avoidance relied on custom, seamanship, and hard-earned experience. Then steam changed everything. A sailing vessel was limited by wind. A steamship could drive through narrow channels, coastal fog, and crowded sea lanes on her own schedule. By the 19th century, faster ships and heavier traffic created new collision risks that old customs could not handle. Rules began to formalize. By the 1860s, Britain and other maritime nations were moving towards standardized steering and sailing rules. That evolution eventually led to the modern COLREGS, the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. The 1972 COLREGS Convention was adopted under the International Maritime Organization and entered into force in 1977. Its genius is not that it predicts every possible danger. Its genius is that it creates common expectations before danger becomes panic. For American mariners, there is another practical point. Demarcation lines matter. Outside the COLREGS demarcation line, international rules apply. Inside those lines, inland rules may apply. The two systems are very similar, but a professional mariner must know which rule set governs the water he is operating in. The heart of the COLREGS is not paperwork. It is watchkeeping. Rule 5 requires every vessel to maintain a proper lookout at all times, by sight, by hearing, and by all available means appropriate to the situation. That means eyes out the window, ears open, radar used properly, AIS understood but not worshipped, compass bearings checked, and common sense engaged. Rule 7 tells us to determine whether risk of collision exists. If there is doubt, risk is deemed to exist. The old rule of thumb still matters: constant bearing, decreasing range, danger. If another vessel remains on the same relative bearing while the range closes, you have a problem until proven otherwise. Rule 8 requires action to avoid collision to be positive, made in ample time, and large enough to be readily apparent. In plain English, do not nibble at it. Do not wait too long. Do not make tiny, confusing course changes and hope the other vessel figures it out. Now we come to the basic meeting situations. Rule 13, overtaking. If you are coming up from more than 22.5 degrees abaft another vessel's beam, you are overtaking, and you keep clear until finally passed and clear. Rule 14, head on. When two power-driven vessels meet on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses with risk of collision, both alter to starboard and pass port to port. Rule 15, crossing. When two power-driven vessels are crossing with risk of collision, specific duties apply. When two power-driven vessels are crossing with risk of collision, the vessel with the other on her starboard side keeps out of the way and avoids crossing ahead if circumstances allow. The Cavelli and the FINA 1 litigation is a modern reminder that these rules are not academic. In that collision, the courts focused heavily on whether the encounter was head-on or crossing. The Court of Appeal confirmed that once Rule 14 is engaged, it continues until the risk of collision is passed. The lesson for the watchstander is simple. If it is head-on, or if you are in doubt, do not argue with the sea. Alter clearly, alter early, and alter to starboard. Rule 18 gives us what mariners often call the pecking order. But be careful with that phrase. The COLREGS do not give anyone unlimited right-of-way. They assign responsibilities. A good teaching mnemonic is, no radar can find something placed overboard, not under command. This is a vessel unable to maneuver as required by the rules because of exceptional circumstances. At night, think 2 all-round red lights in a vertical line. By day, 2 black balls. R. Restricted in ability to maneuver. This is a vessel restricted by the nature of her work. Dredging, surveying, cable work, diving operations, replenishment, aircraft recovery, or a tow that severely restricts maneuvering. At night, red, white, red. By day, ball, diamond, ball. C. Constrained by draft, or, in the international rules, constrained by draft. This is a power-driven vessel whose draft, in relation to available depth and width, severely restricts her ability to deviate from course. She may show 3 all-round red lights in a vertical line or a cylinder by day. F. Fishing. This means genuinely engaged in fishing with gear that restricts maneuverability. A trawler shows green over white. A fishing vessel other than trawling shows red over white. By day, look for 2 cones with their apexes together. Sailing. A sailing vessel under sail, with machinery not being used for propulsion, generally has priority over an ordinary power-driven vessel, but not over vessels not under command, restricted in ability to maneuver, or vessels engaged in fishing. P. Power-driven. This is the ordinary engine-driven vessel. Most of the time, she is lower in the hierarchy and must keep clear of the special categories above her. O. Other special craft and overtaking. Vessels under oars, seaplanes, and wing and ground craft have their own lighting and operating requirements. But the real trapdoor is overtaking. If you are overtaking, you keep clear. It does not matter where your vessel normally sits in the pecking order. The vessel coming up from astern owns the problem. The COLREGS were shaped by centuries of collisions, court cases, investigations, technology, and hard lessons at sea. But even with radar, AIS, ECDIS, ARPA, autopilot, and modern bridge systems, the center of collision avoidance is still human judgment. A good watch standard does not merely memorize the rules. He understands their purpose. See early, assess honestly, act clearly, check the result, and never let pride, electronics, or the dangerous phrase right of way carry you into a collision. Until next time, keep a proper lookout, think ahead, and remember, good seamanship begins long before danger appears. We will soon be launching a complete professional COLREGS course at no charge, providing an in-depth education on the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. Whether you're preparing for your captain's license, standing your first bridge watch, or simply becoming a safer mariner, our goal is to help you understand not just what the rules say, but why they matter. Don't forget to subscribe for more. I'm Captain Rich Green. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the horizon.